I'm Ryan from Amberell. One problem I've always sort of run into when working on music, specifically when I'm using certain analog synths, is I'll start writing something, I'll spend a day or two really dialing in the sound that I'm happy with, and before I'm ready to track it, I'll have another idea that's worth exploring. And I don't want to lose that creative spark, but I know that I want a certain sound, and the synthesizer I just spent 2 days creating a perfect sound on, I'm going to want to use it again to create a new sound, but I don't want to lose the original sound. So if you've run into something along those lines, it can be really frustrating. I thought I'd share my workarounds for this problem today in case anyone here finds it useful. And the first one is a pretty low-tech way to do it. It's actually kind of silly to mention just because I feel like it's probably the most intuitive way, because you're just going to use your smartphone or your camera. Just take pictures of all the settings, make sure to get good angles, make sure they aren't blurry, and then I'll take pictures of my pedal board as well, because that's usually how I dial in the sound. Also try to save those in an album labeled like, synth patches that I like, or I don't know, you can name it whatever you want. If you don't put it in an album or a folder or even print them out, it can be pretty frustrating trying to scroll through hundreds of pictures, trying to find that one synth patch that you made 3 months ago. Once I've taken those pictures and kind of labeled everything nicely, I can feel free to change all the settings and, start from scratch, basically. The second way is a bit more complicated, but it does have some added benefits, and that's sampling. Before I go into showing you how I recorded the samples and organizing them, naming them, all that stuff, if you're getting something out of this, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me know that the stuff I'm making is useful, and you can join our small but growing community. I'll just make a quick recording of a few octaves of notes, making sure I get all the attack and the decay, and I'll turn the recordings into samples in Kontakt or Logic Sampler. And I'm just going to screen grab this and show you what I mean. First, I'll try to start really low, and I'll just kind of go up by fifths. So. Some of these decay times are going to be a little hard to make sure they're all the way gone, because I have delays running that are pretty long. So at a certain point I kind of cut my losses, move on to the next note. I'll chop up the recording, save each audio file, and name it with the specific note name that it is. Once it's all organized, I'll choose where I want it to live. If it's an instrument that I think I'm going to go back to again and again, I'll probably use Kontakt, just because I can make a user interface and add a bunch of different things in there, because Kontakt's pretty awesome. That's a whole other video though. Also, if you're not a Logic user, Kontakt is a really great option. But I'm going to start by showing you in Logic Sampler. It's much easier. You just drag and drop the files into the sampler, and you can still have a lot of control over how you save the synth. Once I have all the files, or once I have all my recordings, I will just grab a scissors tool and sort of chop them up. And I'll rename all these guys. All right, now we're all labeled, and I can open up a sampler, Logic Sampler, and when I go into the zone, alright, so once I have all these files, I can go to my mapping, grab all the files, and literally just drop them in. And now, once they're in, you're going to have to mess with the release, things like that, because before it will just stop the pitch. And that's not what my synthesizer actually sounds like. So you're trying to dial it in as close to the synthesizer as you can. It's pretty good. I would obviously go a little farther if I was doing this to actually use this one. But yeah, you can. The nice thing about this is also, if you really wanted to get crazy, you could just do it. Once you get it dialed in the way it sounds like on your synthesizer, you can make a save as copy and start to really mess with filters, more LFOs, more anything you want, and go a little further with sculpting the sound in the box. Kind of defeats the purpose of just getting a recreation, but it's there if you want to use it. I was planning on showing you how to make it in Contact. I think I'm going to save that for another video, but I do want to show you how to do that because it's pretty cool, and then we can go into making the user interface and having your actual own little instrument. But I will make this available on my website so you guys can have this instrument to play with. Alright, okay. If you have a synth that saves your patches, this video is probably pretty pointless. But if you have some that you can't save your patches on, I hope this helped give you some tools to save the sounds that you make. I'll put the synth that I made today available on my website for free, so head over here to grab it. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.